The movie begins with a dog barking insistently at the door as if sensing something unusual. Then the door opens and we are introduced to Maddie, a young locksmith who has received a call from the owner to open the door. After finishing her task, Maddie heads home, but on her way, she encounters a massive protest. Only 3 days ago, a police officer shot an African-American activist, sparking the community's anger. After several hours, Maddie finally arrives at her apartment. At that moment, her phone rings. It's a woman requesting an urgent service for which she promises to pay extra. Upon arrival, she meets the woman. Her name is Claire. Before starting her work, Maddie asks her to show her ID. It's the only rule. Before opening the door, Claire mentions her purse with her ID is inside the apartment. To validate her identity, she describes a distinctive object in her home, a black punching bag with a tear. This convinces Maddie of her authenticity and she starts working on the lock. Let's hope she doesn't regret breaking her only rule. Shortly after, the door opens and Maddie asks to see her identification. Claire nods. She enters the apartment and quickly returns with a plastic bag full of trash. He informs Maddie that he needs to take out the trash because it's leaking and he will withdraw money from an ATM to pay him, while inviting him to wait inside, indicating that he has left his ID on the table and can see it without any problem. A few moments later, Maddie receives a distressing call from Claire. Her voice is filled with panic and she insists that he leave the apartment immediately. Before Maddie can react, a man enters the room. It is Seaman, a mafia thug who lunges at Maddie and begins to attack him firstly. In a desperate struggle, Maddie grabs a screwdriver and stabs the mobster in the throat, who quickly bleeds out on the floor. One little overhead. Maddie is stunned, unable to comprehend what just happened. His confusion deepens when he realizes that his phone broke during the fight, preventing him from contacting Claire to clarify the situation. Sure, ignore the dead man. The most important thing now is that your phone broke. One thing is clear, he can't risk getting caught. Desperate to avoid jail, he decides to clean the scene before disappearing. For that, he went to a nearby store to buy bleach and whatever is used in those cases. Maddie remained in shock. I had never taken a life, but somehow that had already happened and I had to deal with it. Upon entering, the men are surprised to find their companion dead, and even more so when they verify that their boss's money, which had been hidden inside the punching bag, has disappeared. It's clear that Maddie has fallen into a trap. The apartment wasn't Claire's, it belonged to Seaman, one of the mafia men. They find a bottle of bleach, which confirms that the person responsible is still nearby. So they start checking everything. It's a good thing Maddie is under the bed. No one would think to check there. While inspecting the apartment, Maddie sees her chance and runs to her car. Unfortunately, her car won't start, and before she can escape, she's captured. She's taken to the mafia headquarters, where her boss, Yannick, awaits. During the interrogation, Yannick demands he reveal where his money is and asks why he dared to steal from him. In desperation, Maddie insists he knew nothing about the money and is being framed. He insists that Claire is responsible for the theft and that he is just a manipulated locksmith. For the first time, Yannick considers that Maddie might be telling the truth. One of his men asks Maddie to describe Claire and all the details he remembers about her. Finally, Yannick orders Theo and another subordinate to take Maddie to a brothel that Seaman used to frequent, hoping that Maddie can identify the woman who took the money. Before leaving, Yannick presents crucial evidence, the screwdriver Maddie used to kill Seaman. He warns him that if he tries to escape, the mafia and police will find him. During the journey, Theo takes out his phone and Maddie sees his unlock pattern. At the brothel, Theo orders his partner to accompany Maddie. He explores room by room but can't find Claire. Suddenly, an unforeseen event occurs. May surprises a police officer with his pants down and he starts asking them questions and confronts Theo's partner, sparking a fight. While Maddie tries to warn Theo, he hears him on the phone. To his surprise, Theo is talking to Claire. They have been partners all this time and now Maddie knows. At that moment, a sudden crash interrupts the conversation. Theo's partner has thrown the officer off the balcony, complicating things further. Additionally, Theo quickly realizes Maddie has been listening to everything. Without hesitation, he orders his partner to take the officer's body inside, while telling May not to move. With the effort it took to get the officer down, Now he has to bring him back up. Theo tells his partner to wait for him in the car while he goes to find Maddie to continue the search. However, in reality, Theo plans to eliminate Maddie. He can't allow her to betray him. May is not stupid. He doesn't plan to wait for Theo to kill him now. So he runs away, but they get into a fight that ends with both of them falling towards the parking lot. Luckily, May falls on Theo, allowing him to quickly catch his breath. Seizing the opportunity, he grabs Theo's phone and runs to the exit, but Theo quickly recovers and chases him again. Maddie gets a bike and pedals fast below. Theo can only shoot wildly, but misses. Clearly, learning to shoot wasn't part of his mafia audition. Later, Theo returns to his hideout with his companions. He borrows a phone and calls Yannick, inventing a story in which he claims that Maddie attacked him and tried to escape. Meanwhile, Maddie has hidden in a safe place for the moment and tries to use Theo's phone to report him to Yannick. However, she can't find the contact. At that moment, Claire sends a message to the phone and asks why he hasn't arrived at the meeting. Mauvie pretends to be Theo and tells her she'll see her at the club in 30 minutes. Without hesitation, Maddie waits on a quiet street near the club for Claire. When she appears, he follows her stealthily. Just when Maddie is about to act, a group of protesters surrounds him, urging him to join their protests. When he turns towards Claire, she has already entered the club. Determined, Maddie approaches the entrance, but security has him instantly. The place is members only and Maddie doesn't have a car. Thinking quickly, he claims to be a plumber sent to fix a problem with a toilet. Fortunately for him, the guards believe him and let him through. Once inside, he sees Claire at the bar. He sends her a message indicating to meet him in the back storeroom. Moments later, she heads there, but just as she enters, a phone rings. It's a call from Theo from an unknown number. His voice is urgent, warning her he's lost his phone and not to trust anyone. Claire realizes she's in a trap. But before she can react, Maddie appears, captures her, ties her to a chair, and demands she reveal where the stolen money is. Claire confesses she doesn't have it, and Maddie becomes furious. It's all his fault, and if he doesn't get the money back, they'll kill him. Claire apologizes, saying she never intended to betray him. However, Maddie, consumed by frustration and believing it's another deception like at the beginning, hits his hand with a hammer. The blow makes the girl realize Maddie is desperate. But in the end, he can't continue the torture and apologizes. As tension decreases, a deeper revelation emerges. Claire's real name is Julia, and she stole the money out of desperation in order to save her brother from Yannick's clutches. That's right, Julia and Theo are siblings. All of this has been her way of finding an escape. They know that Yannick will not allow his right-hand man to leave the business just like that. Their plan is to take the money and simply escape, start over in a distant place where Theo doesn't have the constant threat of ending up dead or in prison. At that moment, a sudden knock on the warehouse door causes panic in both of them. Maddie, fearing the worst, covers Julia's mouth and hears Theo's voice on the other side of the door. Desperate, Maddie pleads with Julia to keep his presence a secret. He will help them, but only if she doesn't give him away to Theo. After taking a deep breath to calm her nerves, Julia opens the door. Theo watches her warily and asks why she took so long. Thinking quickly, Julia mentions that she got alarmed and dropped her phone. Taking advantage of the opportunity, he implores Theo to stop searching for Maddie and focus on escaping before Yannick discovers their plan. After a tense pause, Theo finally agrees. They don't need Mauvie, they have the money, and Yannick doesn't suspect anything yet. They plan to meet at the train station at 6 a.m., bound for Amsterdam, far from Yannick. Later, Theo accompanies Julia to a bus so she can retrieve the money and tells her he will go to the barracks to avoid raising suspicion. But in reality, Theo is heading to the nightclub, determined to hunt down May once and for all. He's not stupid. He knows his phone is there because he followed the GPS. For his part, May is preparing to escape when a security guard stops him, demanding that he fix a leaking pipe in the kitchen. Poor May, you should have said you were an electrician. Reluctantly, Maddie agrees, but when he finishes his work, Theo appears and corners him with a serious look. Theo apologizes. He has no choice but to kill him to cover his back. Just before Theo pulls the trigger, Maddie comes up with this. An intense chase begins that leads them to a large protest in the street. Noticing their injuries, the protesters quickly become concerned. Maddie points at Theo, accusing him of being a cop who just assaulted him. Indignant, the protesters turn on Theo, surrounding him. Forced to act, Theo fires into the air, dispersing the crowd. But the hunt isn't over. Theo continues after Maddie, determined to capture him. Unfortunately, the chaos attracts many police and both are arrested, and Maddie is taken to be booked. However, before they escort him, a senior officer examines his face and then orders the officer to wait a moment. Once inside the car, Maddie realizes that he and Theo are in the same vehicle. And to make matters worse, the officer who checked Maddie turns out to be an accomplice of Yannick, who informs his boss that they have captured the target he was looking for. Along the way, Maddie and Theo exchange glances. The boy is scared and doesn't know what will happen, but we do. The ambush has been carried out by Yannick's men, who waste no time in getting Theo out of the car and taking them to their hideout. Soon, Maddie finds himself face to face with Yannick, who doesn't take long to interrogate him. The young man knows that the longer he waits, the more time Theo will have to turn everyone against him. He must look out for his life now more than ever. Desperate, Maddie points to Theo as the mastermind behind the money theft. Although Yannick initially doesn't believe him, he has a plan and says to check Theo's phone. Maybe he'll find something interesting in the gallery. When Yannick's men access the device, they find a video where Theo can clearly be seen talking to Julia at the club and their plan to run away together with the money the next morning. Poor foolish Theo. If you were as obsessed with your phone as maybe, you would have checked it before returning to the headquarters. Yannick is furious. His right-hand man has decided to betray him and orders his men to subdue him immediately. They put duct tape over Theo's mouth and start beating him. Suddenly, the money doesn't seem to matter as much as the betrayal of someone he considered a friend. But that's how business is. And Theo dies brutally in front of Manny, who knows that his words sealed the boy's fate. Then, Yannick turns to Mary and, to her surprise, thanks her for the information and informs her that she will be released on one condition, that she disappears and never returns. Yannick's men take her to her car and give her the keys. You have exactly 30 minutes to disappear or you'll share a dumpster with Theo. Maddie is stunned for a few seconds. He never would have thought that his life would become a complete disaster just by opening a door. At that moment, he starts the car and prepares to accelerate and flee. But something stops him, Julia. The thought of Nikia already after her torments him briefly. She's innocent and just tried to help her brother. Now May has a major decision. About 20 minutes to 6 a.m. and knows that Julia will be waiting for Theo at the train station. So he decides to do the right thing and rushes to arrive before Yannick's man. Maddie accelerates to the maximum, drawing the attention of the police who quickly begin their pursuit. The scene shifts to Yannick and his men who are near the train station waiting for their target. Moments later, when Julie appears, Yannick instructs his team to follow her. In turn, Maddie continues trying to evade the police, loses control of the car, and overturns a few streets from the station. When the police surround the car, they're surprised to see no driver, but their colleagues spot Maddie running down the street. Back at the station, Yannick's men follow Julia, waiting for the right moment to attack. Their plan is simple: eliminate her quietly and recover the stolen money. However, just as one of Yannick's men is about to attack, Maddie appears and shouts across the room for him to run. Her shout draws the attention of the police, who act immediately and shoot her. The shots interrupt Yannick's attack, and he orders his men to retreat. The alarmed crowd reacts quickly. Everyone takes out their phones and starts recording Maddie on the ground. Tensions over police brutality are running high, and the place quickly fills with people. Indignation grows, accusing the police of racial bias. Unable to reach Julia, Yannick must retreat before the police realize they are carrying weapons. Meanwhile, everyone present is recording and showing everyone on social media that another innocent black young man has been injured by the police. The scandal escalates quickly, so the police withdraw and Maddie receives medical attention, revealing to us that she will survive her injuries. In Julie's case, she managed to board the train and escape to a place where Yannick manages to find her. In the end, she allows herself to shed a tear for her brother. His absence is a clear sign of what happened to him. At least she will be able to start over. Although she never thought she would have to do it without her brother, he was the one who most wanted a new beginning. Now click on one of these other videos, or we'll call you to clean up the mess Mary left in Siemens'